The following is an exclusive production of Minuteman Command. The Flagship Pod with your hosts, ESPN personalities Mike Corey and Rene Ingoglia, is on the air. Brought to you by Todd Fritz Roofing, with insight and info from UMass and MAC insiders. From the Command Studios, here are your hosts, Mike and Rene.
Welcome to week one, the Flagship Pod here on MinutemanCommand.com. Mike Corey, Rene Ingoglia. I mean, have we been talking about doing something like this for years or what?
We have been, and this is the perfect place, the perfect start to our podcast. Obviously, both being UMass grads. I think for the UMass fans out there, especially, it's kind of like a rebrand, a reset, if you will, with all the sports going into MAC play, especially football and basketball. So perfect for us, perfect for the fans, perfect for Minuteman Command. I'm ready to go.
Yeah,
baby.
I mean, we talk every week. Like, you know, I mean, there'll be probably, 2 or 3 times a week at least. She'll call me.
This podcast is essentially, guys, you're going to hear what me and Mike talk about every week on the phone. I mean, we literally, should we say this? Because my wife is always yelling at me. She's like, you talk to Mike more than me. And actually, my daughters, too. They're like, who's dad on the phone with Mike? I'm like, yeah.
We also talk very loud, too. Every time
I'm a very loud person.
Like, you are so loud. Like, who are you talking to? I'm like, I'm talking to Rene.
Well, if you think there's an audio problem, it's not. It's me. So just turn it down.
See, it's like you know when you talk to someone who's in like in a bar or a very loud atmosphere, you feel like you got to talk louder because you're loud. That's just who you are.
And so
I gotta feel like I'm like Rene.
And so let people know what our plan is. We're going to do a podcast. It's called the Flagship Pod, as Mike said, once a week. We're looking to drop those pods on Wednesdays, so you can find it. You're going to be able to find it everywhere you get podcasts, but of course, you can go to @UMassCommand on Twitter or X, give it a follow, and then from there, join MinutemanCommand.com. It's totally free. All of the content will be there, but as I also just said, everywhere you get a podcast, YouTube as well, you'll be able to see this podcast. And again, we're going to do it once a week and just kind of try to give you our opinions, kind of behind-the-scenes look of UMass football into basketball season. Those are the two sports. And really, anything else that's going on nationally at UMass or in the country. And then, of course, Mike and I, with our ESPN work, we'll be traveling, doing our own football games, and we'll kind of combine that into. So it'll be a great kind of behind-the-scenes look of everything we do.
Yeah, we're having some fun. I mean, now our conversations are public, so here we go.
They'll be cleaner, though. We'll make sure it's G-rated.
Exactly. We got to give a little background. So obviously,
people know who we are.
Yeah, so you, former UMass running back, okay, one of the best all-time here in history, 95 grad.
Yep.
Well, 96, but your last year was 95.
I played 92 to 95.
Yeah, all right. So give us that story here. So.
Yeah, I mean, it was for people that don't know the story, and I've told this story a lot. I got from Rochester, New York originally. Obviously, live in Florida now. Was pretty highly recruited in high school in the late '80s, early '90s. Syracuse University was one of the was a national power back then. Dick McPherson, the head coach, who used to coach at UMass, was there, and they really wanted me. Well, I blew my knee out in September of 1990. The old Murphy's Law, just don't get hurt. And I did, and I lost all my scholarship offers. And then quickly, UMass, who never recruited me, Dick McPherson, because Jim Reed, who's here kind of as an analyst on staff, helps with alumni relations, was the head coach at the time, was friends with Dick McPherson. Dick McPherson just called and said, hey, you got to give this kid a scholarship. So without getting into the weeds of it, that's how I got to UMass. One scholarship, came here, redshirted in 91, but ended up winning a starting job in 92, and as they say, the rest is history.
Making a push for you to be in the College Football Hall of Fame, man. I mean,
I'm on the ballot.
Look up his numbers. No, it was over 4,600 rushing yards. So what's the number exactly? You got it right. Third all-time lead rusher.
So it's kind of funny.
Here.
I retired at 4,624 yards. When I retired, it was the school and conference's all-time leading.
Right.
Somehow now, when you go into the UMass record books, it has me at 4,623. So
shafted
I lost the yard
and
then 55 touchdowns.
Well,
so it was a good career.
If you add it up, I think like everybody in FBS and FCS now at the time, you got to be like almost in the top 100. I think
it's in there. Listen, I'm on the ballot for the College Football Hall of Fame. I know it's cliche, but it's true. It is just an honor to be on the ballot. And everyone asks, how long are you on the ballot? I think it's really weird. It's like you stay on the ballot, I think, 30 years from when you stop playing. So you think, oh, that's a long time. Well, I'm in my 50s now. It's coming up. enough about me. So
No,
yeah,
that's great.
I technically graduated in '96. You graduated in '99,
Right.
And actually called some of my games for
Yeah.
WMUA radio
Yeah.
as a freshman.
Well, that was the thing. Like, I got here, I knew I kind of wanted to be in broadcasting.
Yeah.
Like, probably since like ninth grade. I'm going to UMass. Grew up in Brattleboro, Vermont, like 40 minutes up the road. And I was doing basketball and football. And I remember calling, one of your games. And then I also wrote for the Collegian, so we were, covering the team as well. And then I think we got to fast forward all the way to 2009 when we got reconnected.
So
2010.
It's a crazy story. So again, and I've told this story on different pods, so I'm not going to get into it, but I wanted to get into broadcasting. I was a detective with the Orlando Police Department. I had no experience in broadcasting. Really what happened was in '07, I got inducted into the UMass Athletics Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. And I came up here and it was awesome. It's during the fall, and so the ceremony was Friday night, the induction, and then there's a football game on Saturday. So I was the Bob Beeler, who's now the voice of Boise State, was the voice of UMass, said, hey, will you be the halftime guest? I said, absolutely. And it was the first time I'd ever put headsets on. I had headphones on. And I was extended guest at halftime for radio, and I got done doing that. And I was like, this is cool. And I had been looking to get back into football. My wife's like, oh, you should try to, coach. And I did. I coached Pop Warner. I just wanted something more full, if you will. And, but at this time, I'm married with 2 kids. I'm a full-time police detective in Orlando, in Florida. And I said, man, maybe broadcasting, right? And so, long story short, I reached out to a bunch of people. And then finally, I got back to UMass, and I said, listen, I want to get into broadcasting. Can I come up and be, part of the UMass Sports network?
Yeah, and you pretty much paid your own way.
They did. They said, listen, we don't have a problem. So I did. I paid my own way. I paid my own way. They gave me $100 a game.
Well, yeah.
But it cost me about $700 a game with the flights. But I did. I flew up. I worked Monday through Friday as a detective. I flew up every Friday, 8:30, into Manchester, New Hampshire, anyone in those areas. Drove the hour and a half to Amherst. Stayed in my buddy Dan Markowski, former player, stayed in his basement, would do the game, and then go home and do it all over again. And so, but it was that. So '09, we had a game at Delaware.
Right.
You were the voice of Delaware in '09.
Right.
So that's where we really, we knew who each other were, but that's where we really met and connected in '09.
Right.
And then I'll just go ahead, and then really about a year and a half later, 2 years later, ESPN, I was able to get in with ESPN. So were you were doing a lacrosse game in Orlando, I came and met you.
Right.
And then the next year, our bosses put us together broadcasting high school and college football for ESPN, having no idea that we were both UMass grads, and then we kind of met. It's how the cycle works. It's crazy.
It was awesome. I know. I was very fortunate. I graduated from here, and I got the job immediately at the University of Delaware doing play-by-play for Delaware football and basketball, who at the time UMass played, in the conference. And then, like you said, met up again in '09.
And then, awesome. And you look full circle. Me and you have done, obviously, a ton of nationally televised college football games, including UMass, and we've done a good amount of UMass games. And now we're with Minuteman Command, doing a weekly pod for our school. Getting awesome. Back.
Yeah, I love it. We're going to hopefully be here for a game or two. I would think we can put it.
And I always say this. So we have some great bosses. I won't name drop bosses, but we have great bosses, and we'll request to at least do a UMass action. And I'm pretty confident that we'll be able to do a UMass action game this year. So I am super excited about that.
This is a really awesome weekend. We were here because you got all the alumni back, right? The spring game going on right behind us, as you see. Last night, great event. Well, we were hanging out for a while, doing a bunch of great interviews, too, which is going to be aired here at UMass Command and on MinutemanCommand.com. Talked to the coordinators, a couple of the players.
All 3 coordinators. Yep. So Mike Bajakian, the offensive coordinator, great discussion. Joe Castellito, who's the special teams coordinator, phenomenal. For you fans, I know special teams was a sore subject last season. Totally. Joe Castellito comes in. He was at Dartmouth, had not just the best special teams in the Ivy League, he had one of the best special teams units in the country statistically.
So they blocked 6 kicks in 20 games.
A lot of schemes. Really great interview with him. And then Jared Kite, the defense coordinator, who was with Coach Harasymiak at Rutgers, has been with him at Maine. Good, young, energetic. So some really great interviews. As Mike said, we're going to kind of put that content out on its own. Again, go to UMass Command on X, follow it. join up Minuteman Command because you'll always be able to get that content there for sure. And I mean, it's going to get sent right to you email. But again, it's going to be on all the socials, all the podcast platforms. So great interviews. And then 3 players we talked to.
Malcolm Green, a graduate defensive back, was formerly at Virginia and Clemson, now with us. T.Y. Harding, out of Cambridge, local guy, sophomore wideout, who's been here his entire career.
The great thing with T.Y. Harding, he's been here 4 years. That's like, you should, in this era of the revenue share, because let's go to the house settlement, NIL, it's going to be revenue share, but money and contracts. T.Y. should get like a bonus for being here 4 years.
Yeah.
Like you should actually tier. If you stay here, you get money.
You should. I know. I think they should create like multiple year deals if you got it. You know what I mean? Because like this is a joke, like recycling a team year after year. So when you get a guy like that, I mean, I love giving them props, and he was awesome.
He was great.
And
how about maybe the best interview?
We got the Australian baby. We got
Keegan Andrews.
Yeah.
And I made the comment, and you'll see it when we put it out. Like you feel like UMass football program has finally made it because we have an Australian punter, and he's jacked, he's big, he played Aussie Rules football.
He's great.
Matter of fact, the practice bubble, which is behind the football stadium, and oh, by the way, in case you're wondering, this is the TV booth, broadcast booth, 50-yard line, spring games going on behind us. But the practice bubble, which they were in all spring, Andrews was hitting the ceiling. He was, the bubble could not contain him. So I'm excited because listen, special teams listen. I know it's a cliche, but it's a third of the game. It's as important as offense and defense. It can blow you games and it can win you games, and you're going to see a much improved and a different special team unit this year from UMass football.
Can't be losing games based on that. Hopefully, we'll be winning games, like you said. Marty Jacobson, UMass football's #1 supporter, donor. It was awesome. We're in the box.
The press box is named after him. The Football Performance Center is.
Great talking to him yesterday, so check that interview out. Really cool guy. I mean, he's down in Florida like you.
Offered me a ride home on his private jet. Delta, I'm staying with you, though. Staying with you, Delta.
You're loyal.
For now.
No,
just because my wife wouldn't come pick me up at an airport, a city over.
But he's great. I mean, listen, I think the optimism is certainly high. I know it is every year before you play, but it's different.
Exactly. So as fans, and listen, we're alums. I'm a former player. I bleed maroon and white. We're just like you guys. I made this comment when I'm broadcasting. Matter of fact, I think it was the Miami Ohio game, one where we had one last year. I was getting ready to do Memphis somebody. I'm in the Liberty Bowl, and I'm watching the freaking game. Oh, yeah. You were doing a different game, and we're texting back and forth before our ESPN assigned game. So we're fans first and foremost, like everyone else. And so yes, every year there is this optimism, but I am telling you, it's different this year. It just is. When Joe Harasymiak got hired, I had a good 30-minute conversation with him on the phone. Obviously, we talked to him in person a couple times yesterday. The vibe, the feel is different. And I know people are there shaking their heads. Oh, they always say that. Yeah. I'm telling you, it's different. And I had this conversation with Coach, they call him Coach H, yesterday too. The days of new coaches coming in and new staffs and the fans are saying you have 2 or 3 years to turn around.
Don't get that.
Those days are over. I get that. You need to win right away. And the way college football is set up with the portal, with players changing, you can. And I made this comment to you. I made a comment to a bunch of people. I did 3 University of Buffalo games last year, who's in the MAC, which in proximity is going to be the closest school to UMass. So I can see a rivalry get built in there. Pete Lembo, which I know you know Pete Lembo, and I've known Pete for a long time, used to coach in the MAC and was special team coordinator at South Carolina, was phenomenal, and comes back and takes over the Buffalo job. And Buffalo was a program that was struggling, much like UMass. He takes over last year.
They did it.
Yeah, he didn't go in the portal and bring magic players in. No, he had a roster. He brought in new coaches. He changed the philosophy, the attitude. Not only did they go to a bowl game and win a bowl game last year, the Bahamas Bowl against Liberty, they were, in November, they were in the discussions for the MAC championship, getting in the MAC championship. That whole season last year, all I thought was, this should be and could be UMass.
Well, and crap, our friends down the road here at UConn. I mean, we're talked about on the same level here as UMass. Like, they stink. It's like, what do they do?
9-win season.
Yeah. So what happened there? Obviously, threw a bunch of money in. But it's like you gotta just sit here and be like, enough of this crap. We're not gonna take this anymore.
Yeah.
And I think, in a way, without being like, here's $5 million. Like, we are doing that here because the money's up. It's gonna go up a little bit next year. Yeah. It's not all about the money. We get it. But hey, they did it in a year. Like, you want to get away from being talked about in a bottom 10 and a collapse.
No doubt about it. And for the listeners and viewers, I'm not going to get into the weeds. There's a thing called the house settlement. It's going to kind of dictate this revenue share money. Okay, it's close to being settled. When that gets settled in the courts within the next month or so, Jason Bermant, who is in the athletic department, he's a new hire. He basically is in charge of these contracts, if you will.
Sure, and retention as well, too.
Well, you need roster retention, right?
Yeah.
We'll have him on, and we'll kind of go through the whole money thing and how it works. And I will say this, okay? We are going to be, it's not ambiguous, can't even talk. We are going to have one of the highest money amounts in the MAC conference.
Right, exactly.
It's going to be us in Toledo. So money-wise for MAC play should not be a problem at all. Athletic department funds should not be a problem at all. So there's no. What I'm saying is there's no excuses.
Yeah,
and everybody knows that. The time is now.
Yeah, we're going to talk to people about it too, because sometimes you don't know the story. You don't want to just come out there and be like, what the hell's going on here? Like, hey, you have to learn and understand what's going on here. Like, I know you and I talk all the time. We do give a little bit of credit because until you know the full, details, you can't just start bitching about it.
And listen, we get it. We get it. We're not naive. We understand. The stadium needs upgraded and changes.
Yeah,
everybody around here realize that.
Yeah,
the performance center.
It's awesome.
It's great.
Yeah.
We travel to. I've been to over 100 football programs.
Wow.
In my career at UMass, my ESPN career, I keep track. Over 100. Okay, so I've seen every stadium, every facility. That performance football facility where the weight room is, and the locker room is, and office.
That's right up
it's
there.
Fine.
It's up in line.
Practice bubble, excellent.
Yep.
Press box, fine. Yes, stadium, and it'll happen. But you know what else helps? Stadium upgrades and a new stadium, and you know what helps?
Yeah, winning.
Winning
Yeah, I know.
and support. Come to games. Buy season tickets.
I know.
Come and tailgate. Listen, this spring, you can't see the stands on this side. There's a good amount of people here. We showed up 3 hours ago. A lot of tailgating going on, right? Gets the juices flowing, right?
We talked about this last night. It irks me when it's no crap if you win, they'll be here. I get it.
But you have to help be a part of that winning.
I know, it bothers me. That's easy.
Yeah.
Oh, we're winning, I show up. That's easy. How about showing up to help them win? You talked about last year, they blew a bunch of games late. What happens if there's a little extra, fan base or support?
Maybe we get that crowd noise and it causes a false start.
Correct.
I love
when
you watch
basketball too. We're going to get into that later here. It just bothers me because it's there's 5,000 students right at this Southwest complex that live literally 0.1 miles here, 2 miles. Just come to the freaking games.
I mean, pretty much the undergrad now of UMass is close to 30,000.
Yeah.
There's a lot of probably 20,000 live on campus at least.
I know.
It's all walkable. To your point, if 5,000 or 6,000, 7,000 students came to every game, for a small stadium like this, then your regular fans come. That's a big deal.
10%
and we
of the population is
we have to do that. And listen, guys, we're gonna get again. The other thing, in case you don't know, going to the Mac's TV deal is with ESPN with us. So every game, every week is on ESPN. Yeah, they might be ESPN Plus, could be EU, E2, but the Maction games once we get to November. ESPNU, ESPN2, and ESPN, all November.
Right.
UMass is going to get some action games. We talked about that. Those are the games you got to show out.
Right.
National TV, standalone game. And so what we're saying is, and we're part of this too, bitching isn't going to help.
No.
We all bitch.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you to stop bitching because you're going to bitch. That's part of being a fan. But there's something as a fan you can do to help. We all can.
Yeah, and I feel like this staff and the people that we talk to are going to try to do something about it.
Yeah.
In the areas that we discussed. Because, Joe knows, and the head coach knows, he's also that was before I got here. You know what I mean? So it's we could sit here all day and be like, oh, but last year and this time we didn't do this. Here we are now, April 2025. Moving forward, you can't be worried about stuff that was out of your control before. So
Speaking about bitching, not necessarily bitching.
Yeah.
As we start this flagship pod and getting it going, if you're a fan, you have a question for me and Mike,
I want to hear it.
Go to at UMass Command on X, follow, and then you can leave messages there.
Yeah.
The team will get them, we'll get them, and so if there's a question or maybe a topic, let be interactive with us. We want this again. yes, we work for ESPN. We're in the football athletic world, but we're UMass alums. First and foremost, we're fans just like you. Okay, that's why I think a lot of people get confused. Now, listen, don't mistake this. We're not shills either. We're gonna tell it like it is. Like I said, they need a new stadium. We know that.
Yeah.
It's like I said when I had a conversation with Joe Harasymiak. It's like, got to kind of win next year.
Right.
Like, we won't say a name, but we were talking to some journal. The press box is full. There's print writers in here and journalists, and someone made the comment about, well, the team could be better, but it just doesn't show up in wins and losses. 0-12 on the scoreboard. I said, please, for God's sakes, don't say that. That just no. The moral victories are done.
I know.
August 30th, when Temple from the American Athletic Conference comes in here, there's no we played great against an American Athletic Conference team. No. That needs to be a W. Needs to be a W.
We do this.
Wait, I might have jumped. Do you want to do the schedule now, or you were asking me? We'll do that last.
We always talk about the schedule. Him and I,
we'll finish this pod with a way too early look of the schedule.
Well, but
hint. There's 6 wins on the schedule.
So this is so different nowadays.
Yeah.
I mean, the spring game going on.
Yeah.
Separate the guys. So, what about when you played, right? I mean, I
So-
know it's a little bit, but things are changed. But
I don't want
This is going.
I'm not going to be the get off my lawn guy, but they don't hit as much. And I get it. Everyone does that.
No,
okay?
what's your line about the injuries? I thought that was great. Like you said,
well, if you play this game of football, and I've done it. If you think you're going to get hurt, you're going to get hurt. You cannot play that.
Yeah, when you worry about getting hurt,
can't.
you're going to get hurt.
You
right,
can't.
Exactly.
And so
practices.
The whole athletics world, just not football, it's all sports. But obviously football, they've backed away how much they hit. And to me, I think every time I travel and we talk to coaches every week, every defensive coordinator wishes they tackled more in practice because it's the principle of specificity. If you want to be good at something, do it. If you want to be a good tackler, you need to tackle.
Right.
Not tackle a dummy.
You hear everybody be like, "Oh, we were poor at tackling this week." It's like, well, why do you think that is? Well, you don't freaking do it.
But
in practice.
I do understand, coaches have to be strategic in how they do it.
Yeah,
They'll go live in camp. But you would ask me about my spring game experience. So the one that stands out is in 1991. So I told you, actually 92. So I told you, I came here in 91. I had blown my ACL out.
Yeah.
And Coach Reed said, listen, you're not going to practice. You're just going to rehab. And so sit out the 91 year, which I did.
Okay. So this is spring of 92.
So then 92.
Okay.
Spring of 92 was the first time I put pads back on.
spring
And it's
game.
funny because I think everybody knows, every high school around the nation, especially back in the 80s and 90s, the way we ran football,
Right.
the best players were running back and quarterback. Now with offenses today, you got crazy wide receivers, but pretty much running back and quarterback. So, there's only one quarterback and a couple of running backs, right? So all these players come into teams, and most of the coaches say, listen, we're probably not going to leave you at running back. We're going to put you on the defense side of the ball, put you at defensive back. So Coach Reed said that
Did you
to
ever
me.
play defense?
Oh, I grew up in an era where you played both ways.
You played both sides. Okay, so
I did.
He's saying to you, we were going to make you a defensive back?
Yeah. Well, so basically he said, listen, we're pretty stacked at running back.
Okay.
He goes, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you one spring at running back.
Okay.
But he's like, after spring, probably going to move you over to defensive back for next camp. And I know you would ask me, so if you said that to a kid today,
Yeah, right.
he'd be in the portal, whining and crying about it. Listen, I was on scholarship. I'm listening. Do what my coach wants me to do.
Yeah.
And my dad was the same way. Go there and help the team, right? Any way you can.
So what happened?
So I had a decent spring. So that particular year, spring of '92, UMass, we weren't the only school, but we had a spring game against the alumni. So the crazy alumni
Oh, my God.
would come back, full pads, full contact, and we played. Oh, it was.
How old were they at the time?
It's a 25, 26-year-old. Todd Rundle, one of our assistant coaches, is 28. He padded up and played.
Oh my God. So forget about the team being
So
the alumni.
exactly. You weren't worried about the team getting hurt. The coaches were like, dude, you cannot lay these guys out like this. So we had full contact game against alumni, and in the first quarter of the game, I broke off right here on this field. I broke off an 85-yard run going that way into that end zone, and Coach Reed never mentioned to me again about going to defense. I was running that from there on out.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then that next year, was able to win the starting job.
Playing the
as a
alumni, my God.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. But now, I mean, of course, with the stinking portal,
Yeah, listen,
is that what's going on? Like, nobody wants to do.
So first of all, they're glorified practices, but us at ESPN, I think last year, I could be off in the number a little bit.
20 or 30
28 games, 28 spring games we broadcasted, okay? Every ACC team, every SEC team.
Yeah.
And I started to read the tea leaves last year where coaches were like, yeah, other teams are watching our spring games. If we have a standout performer, the portal's open, we don't want to lose players. And then once the portal has gone nuts the way it has, all these schools basically came to ESPN and said, we're not putting a game on TV. So from last year, 28 games going on TV. I think ESPN is televising or has already televised 3 spring games. That's it. Wow. So, and I look forward to it. I always do a spring game, and it's just kind of, you kind of dust the cobwebs off. You're getting ready. But yeah, no spring game. But we got the Flagship Pod, so this gets my juices flowing. Listen, you talked about it's been a great weekend.
It's been fun, yeah.
Breaking bread with everyone and just networking with people,
talking to the players and then the assistant coaches. They brought up all the coaches right up on the stage last night. I thought that was pretty cool because then we got the chance to go hang out with them last night and just hear like what everybody's vision and what they want to do.
And not just the Flagship Pod. Obviously, the Flagship Pod is a part of Minuteman Command.
Right.
Letting them know, and everyone knew. Tell me about Minuteman Command because. Christian McCollum, who's a part of it. Like, we have interns. Like, there's going to be write-ups where you can get articles. There's going to be video breakdowns of players, recruiting news, our pod. So it's a one-stop shop, right, to kind of get all that information. I mean, if you're a UMass fan, it's a no-brainer. And I know I mentioned it before. It's free.
Yeah, get on.
It's free.
It's very, very well done. I mean, there are already a ton of articles and stuff on there right now. I mean, when they first asked us to be a part of this, and I went to it, I was like, oh my gosh, look at this. So it's like, it wasn't like, hey, work in progress, like, we're ready to go. You know what I mean? So it's like,
I'm pretty
excited.
It's not groundbreaking. Other schools do this.
Yeah.
But we just figured, Christian and Dave and the guys and Tommy figured, again, this is a reset going into the MAC, especially for football. They had reached out to me, and I was like, man, me and you have been talking about doing a pod.
Right.
And I said, this is kind of a win-win for us and UMass football and Minuteman Command. And so we're excited to be doing this once a week. And we're going to have guests on during the year and some great guests. And we're going to try to not keep it too long.
Yeah.
We want to make it entertaining so you guys come back. But again, be interactive. Go to UMass Command on X. Like it, follow it, and then throw us some questions, topics, or questions you got, anything you got.
It's like I said, our conversations every week on the phone now, right here for everyone.
Conversations without cursing.
Without cursing, well, a little bit. But we tell you what, we always do this, like the schedule.
Way too early, schedule predicted.
Yeah. So it's like, all right, let's take it here from the top. Saturday, August 30th, Temple, and then Saturday, September 6th, Bryant.
So go with Temple. It's got to be a win. Okay, you're here, you're at home. Temple's been a program that's had issues as well. We both know the head coach, Casey Keeler.
Yeah.
You know him really well because he used to be the head coach at Delaware.
Yeah.
We did one of his games last year at Sam Houston.
Right. It was the most exciting 9-6 game.
Oh, by the way, another frustrating thing when you talk to UMass fans. I mean, Sam Houston transitioned.
Oh my gosh!
In a year.
I know.
And they went to a bowl game.
I know.
So it's like it's maddening.
Yeah, the facility was ridiculous. I mean, it got better because they put like
this
an
is
end zone thing.
10 times better
than
what Sam Houston's dealing with. Okay,
like
so listen again. Excuses are done for UMass football. This is a new era. This pod, the Flagship Pod's turning the page right now. This spring game's turning the page into new UMass football. But okay, Temple. Got to be a win.
All right, so if you get those two with Temple and
Bryant FCS team, got to be a win.
Yeah,
got to be 2-0.
Yeah, at Iowa, at Missouri. Okay.
I made the comment. I go, what jackass athletic director made this schedule? And Ryan was standing right next to me when I said that. He goes, that would be me. It's kind of a one-off.
Look, it's going to change.
It was just the way it happened. We're going to get UConn back on.
It's going to move into the future. The
scheduling model in the future is going to be one Power 14, which you're going to do, an FCS, and then a comparable
to like a Temple that you
a Temple, and then we want to always play UConn.
I want to play UConn.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So
okay,
let's hope to be 2-2.
Let's say 2-2 when conference play starts.
At the end of September.
But before you say that, it's not like we're saying we can't beat Iowa, we can't beat Missouri. Okay, yeah. Obviously, it's a power
Let's be
program.
realistic.
We're being realistic. But I'm waiting for the day, and it's going to happen, where this UMass football program wins a game, no one expects them to win. Like, listen,
Right.
Toledo went down to Mississippi State last year and kicked the shit out of them.
Correct. Yeah.
I mean, I can say shit.
No, they were. We were watching.
We were getting ready to do a game, and we watched that game.
No, we finished.
We finished the game and
went
went and had a couple drinks.
Toledo was kicking their ass. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And you know what? It's a little different today, right? Because like the name of the jerseys before, like with the portal, with all the transfers, like it doesn't surprise me as much anymore. Like, oh,
No.
they beat them. It's
But
like,
so,
yeah, they did.
so we're not just saying those are losses
No, that
because,
don't happen.
but let's put it at 2-2.
All right, and then it's real simple. Like we'll go through it, but it's like then you just got to go 4-4.
You got to go
in
4-4 in conference to go to a bowl game, which is the first time ever. And I told Ryan Bamford, I said, Ryan, hopefully soon there's going to be a time when the fans, yes, I'm talking to you, watching this bad, that you guys are going to be bitching about
what
6-6, 7-5,
Right.
going to shitty bowl games. That's what you guys are going
Right.
to bitch about. And I said
That's
that is
what
going to
we
be a glorious day.
Right, we need
We
that.
We
Yeah.
just got to get over the hump and get there. And I think next year's it. But yeah,
Gotta get that
so you got to go
first
4-4. Western Michigan at home, I think that's got to be a win.
At Kent State,
Kent
you
State
gotta win that.
has a lot of issues. They
A
just
lot
let
of
their coach
issues,
go,
yeah.
Kenny Burns. Got to be a win on the road. Buffalo here. This is what I said. Talked about a rivalry. Pete Lembo's done phenomenal. That should
Right.
be a heck of a game.
That will be good.
So I'm not.
It's here. It's home.
It's home.
We should come back to it because then there's 2 on the road.
Well, I don't even. We were given win loss. I don't even want to do that. Let's look at this schedule.
in clumps here, Buffalo.
This schedule has
Michigan.
has 6 wins on it. I'll
This is,
say
by
that.
the way, this is exactly how we talk on the phone.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
you can't even get
It
a
has
word
6
in.
wins on it.
Yeah.
Now they may come different than what we think. Buffalo, I did 3 Buffalo games, as I said. They went again. I was in the Bahamas. I did that game for radio. It was
Wow.
Liberty.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, UMass had Liberty beat last year too. So, but they beat Liberty in the Bahamas Bowl.
Right.
Buffalo did. The whole time I'm there thinking this should be UMass. Could you imagine the UMass fans, the UMass faithful?
Yeah, I want to go to Bahamas.
To go to the Bahamas Bowl. You know how many packages?
I know.
Matter of fact, Liberty had a
Liberty,
package. Liberty had a package where you took a cruise,
Look at that.
and the cruise stopped
Dropped you off
in
at the game.
Nassau
Oh, my
for
God.
6 hours during the game.
Wow.
And a lot of people went to the game. So I mean, it's endless things. Oh man, we're getting ahead of ourselves, but these are the things that I think the UMass
Now we're
fans
going
have
to
to
be
look
pissed if we
forward
don't
to.
get the Bahamas Bowl after.
But I mean,
what you said.
but the tie-ins for the MAC, you got the Cure Bowl in Orlando where I live,
Right.
phenomenal bowl game. There's you have the Boca Bowl. There's great bowls.
Yeah, well, and here's the
But
other
we
thing.
just got to get there.
Just real quick on the MAC,
Yeah,
as
yeah.
we talked about this, like,
And the schedule,
why are we
keep
going to the
going.
MAC? Okay, you stay as an independent, you have no other choice but to go get your butt kicked at these places,
Yeah.
Auburn and Georgia. You got to be serious, like, right? So now, when you're in a conference and half of your conference goes to bowl games,
Yeah,
that
bowl.
money gets shared.
Yeah,
amongst everybody.
well,
So
the
you
money-
don't have to go play
TV
at
money,
Iowa every
TV
year,
money,
right?
and all that revenue is more for UMass. The bowl tie-ins phenomenal, and
Right.
these kids are going to get to play for a conference championship.
There's a lot of money with the bowl games. That's what people don't understand. Like,
Yeah.
it's not about like, oh,
And
there's
it's
only
shared.
5,000
Yeah.
people in the stands, whatever. Millions of people watch the game
Yeah.
that we do. Those are honestly the biggest games we'll ever do. I
Oh,
always
yeah.
remember the one we did. It was
We did.
It was
Eastern Michigan, Pittsburgh. So MAC team. It was
Ford Field.
Ford Field. It was.
The,
They
What the heck?
they renamed it.
Oh gosh.
They renamed it. It was.
Why did I not?
It was Quick Lane Bowl.
Quick Lane Bowl. Yeah.
It's not Quick Lane
No,
anymore.
I get it. But it was
But-
at Ford Field.
Thursday. It was a Thursday night bowl game.
It was right after Christmas.
It was an 8:00 on a Thursday. It was a standalone game.
Day after Christmas.
3.3 million viewers for that game.
Right. Right.
Phenomenal number for that game.
Right. Great crowd too.
And that's
That was good. And who were the players on some of those teams, by the way?
Kenny Pickett was quarterback.
Damar Hamlin.
Damar Hamlin was there, yeah.
He got an interception in that game. I remember. It was crazy.
Eastern Michigan had a chance to win at the end. Remember the quarterback?
did.
I forgot his name.
Quarterback
Quarterback
kinda,
got in a
like,
fight
yeah,
and
it's ridiculous.
punched somebody after the
Right.
game. But anyway, we
Anyhow.
digress. Buffalo. Then we
Yeah.
go to Central Michigan again. A program having some issues. A winnable game
At
Akron. Winnable game. Home against Northern Illinois. They're interesting. They're going to the new.
Well, that was crazy.
They're
last
leaving the
year.
MAC,
Yeah.
which.
I mean, last year
I
was
don't know.
nuts. Like when they beat Notre Dame,
Not my
we
issue.
all vaulted them to the top of the.
But that's a
so
great that's an action game. That'll be a action game.
That'll be here. Yeah.
So that'll be
Tuesday,
here. That'll be a action game in November.
November 18th, match.
Then you go to Ohio. Obviously, a very good team last year.
Yeah.
Did one of their bowl games on radio. Very good team.
Very
And then you
consistent.
get end the season here with Bowling Green, who, oh, by the way, has a new head coach, a guy by the name of Eddie George.
Eddie George.
Pretty good running back. Actually played when I played. He was at Ohio State.
How cool is that?
That's
here at home.
I know we started win, loss, win, loss. There's 6 wins on the schedule.
Yeah, if you get
there's 6 wins.
I think it's pretty simple. If you get Temple,
if you can get 2-2, then you go 4-4 in conference.
If you don't get the Temple game,
then you got to go 5-3 in conference, which is still doable.
Right.
So listen,
all right.
The optimism is high. Flagship Pod is underway. You get to deal with us once a week, hear all our shenanigans, and of course we'll give you our ESPN stories as we travel as well.
Yeah.
And we're going to bring you guys some great interviews, some former players, coaches.
There's a lot of great stuff going on here. I mean, now we're really in it, and I love this because this place means so much to us. I mean, we wouldn't obviously be anywhere close to where we are. I know it sounds like a cliche, but thanks to the experience and everything that we got here at UMass. So, we talked to my good friend and partner Brad Davidson with the UMass documentary that we're putting together.
Mike's let me just briefly before we end this pod. Mike is a producer on a documentary about the great UMass basketball teams of the early 90s. It's close to finishing up, and we'll obviously promote that. And we interviewed Brad, and that'll go out too, so you can learn a lot of information about that documentary. So
check out that.
Excited for you for that.
If you check out the trailer, it's pretty cool. It's an early trailer that we put together. It's at 283productions.com. So if you go to 283productions.com, you can watch
play-by-play, documentary
We're
guy.
gonna get out there. That's going to be fun. That's going to be great for UMass.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome. So, football, basketball, we got this thing going on.
Thanks for joining us. I know a lot of you reached out to my social media. Obviously, my ex is Rene Ingoglia. My Instagram's Rene Ingoglia. Asking about this pod. So I said we're going to put information out. But again, right now, we plan, and I know Christian nodded earlier, our goal is to drop them every Wednesday.
Yeah.
So and the great thing about Wednesday is once the season's rolling, we can review the game that UMass just had and kind of preview the upcoming game. It's kind of that sweet spot. So that's the plan going forward. So we appreciate you guys joining us. Let people know, follow the whole 9 yards. Let's get a good, a bunch of people, UMass fans, Rabbit fans, supporting this program, supporting this pod, and let's go forward.
All right, we're off and running. Flagship Pod. We'll see you next time.
See you.